You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
Get ready to fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Baradelli and Russ Gallo. And you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Baradelli here with you. So happy you could be with us this week. Whether you're listening to us at www.behindenemylinesradio.us, or if you're checking us out on your AM radio dial, your FM radio dial, your internet radio dial, thanks for tuning in. Or if we're with you as a podcast, traveling along with you, either on the subway or in your car, or on a jog or at the gym, whatever the case may be. We're glad to be with you today. Got a really great show this week. So excited to welcome back to the show a very good friend who's had so much success in the past year. It's ridiculous. And we're so glad to see it happen, because it couldn't happen to a nicer person. Talking about Scotty Hughes, our good friend who we met when she was a Politichick. Then she was with TPNN, Tea Party News Network. She had her own radio show on USA Radio Networks. Her book, Roar, came out, was tremendous success. Then she joined the Trump campaign as one of the advocates for Donald Trump, became a CNN contributor. And we're talking this week with her, not only about the news of the day, but also about her latest venture as the national spokeswoman for the Committee to Defend the President PAC. We'll get into that, what that means, and why she thinks the president needs defending in the first place. Seems like he's doing a pretty good job on his own. We'll also be taking a look later on, a little bit of the lighter side of stuff. Listen, news has been so heavy lately, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. We're going to take a little walk on the lighter side, looking at some of the parody of the Clinton Excuse Tour. Lots of creativity out there. We're going to showcase two of them that we found, two different clips that I just laughed my butt off with. And if you know me, it's a pretty big butt, folks, so it's got to be good stuff. You'll get to hear that later. And you know what? Right now, we talked about, there's so much heavy stuff going on in the news right now. We have Jim Comey that's going to be testifying before the Senate later this week. We have the terror attacks in London, and here we go again. That's, discussed ad nauseum. And my goodness, there's just liberal exploding heads everywhere, especially this Nimrod, this idiot, this moron, this buffoon. A clear contender for Buffoon of the Year already emerging, Kathy Griffin. Can we talk about this for a second? I'm glad to do so, because my God, woman, what in the world were you thinking? For those of you living under a rock for the past week or so, Kathy Griffin took part in a photo shoot wherein she posed with a severed, bloody head of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, to which there was virtual universal backlash condemning this woman, this cretin, this fool, this idiot. She lost her gig with CNN. She lost every other live gig she had anywhere in the country for the next year. And then she had the audacity to lawyer up and to claim that she was the victim, that the Trump family is orchestrating an attack on her that's harming her livelihood and her business, and that she's broken because she's just a comedian. She wants to make people laugh. There is so much going on with this. And, you know, I talk about this with Scotty as well, but I'm going to give you my theory on this now, and we'll recap it in the interview. This is all orchestrated, folks. Make no mistake about it. Look at the timeline of what happened here. Kathy Griffin does the photo shoot. Contemporaneously with the photo shoot, there's a video emerging how she's joking how she's going to have to move to Mexico when this gets out. So she already knows it's a bad thing to do. Then it comes out, backlash and outrage that we all witnessed for at least 48 hours. And then the apology, non-apology from Kathy Griffin. She doesn't apologize to Donald Trump or to the First Lady Melania Trump or to the Trump family, especially Barron Trump, who reportedly thought that it was a real photo, got very nervous and very upset about it and had to be calmed down as a result. Not to any of them, not to Trump's kids or his family or anything like that. She apologized basically to her fans for something that she thought was funny but wasn't funny. Come now. Are you kidding me? That's not a real apology. If you were really sorry and contrite, you would actually say it to the person that you despise, Donald Trump. Say, you know what? I crossed the line. I apologize. But she didn't do that. By the way, folks, there was a story on Vulture, which is an entertainment site, after the election, but before the inauguration, of Kathy Griffin saying that everybody's fair game, basically. Even Barron Trump is fair game. So, to me, this adds an element of premeditation to what she thought of here and what's going on. So, we have the premeditation, the act, the knowledge while it's going on that it's going to be bad, the resultant backlash, which we all knew was coming, the apology, non-apology, and then she loses her job at CNN, and then the waterworks. The crying. The apology. I'm broken. I didn't mean to. I just want to make people laugh. Lady, please. And I want to say something stronger than lady. The fact that she lawyered up within 48 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it was a quick amount of time, tells me that this was all premeditated. Those lawyers don't just show up on a whim and set up a press conference and get all this going. They were on call. Let's be honest. Kathy Griffin is trying to become the latest martyr on the left. She wants to be Rosie O'Donnell. Good Lord knows why. She wants to be Ashley Judd. She wants to be Madonna. She wants to be one of these liberal celebrity icons who are in the resistance, who are fighting tooth and nail against President Trump for reasons really unbeknownst to me outside of just blind hatred and vitriol. She wants to be famous. That's all that this is about. But she ended up being infamous because those on the left did not embrace what happened here. Chelsea Clinton even spoke out about it. Chelsea Clinton on the same side as Donald Trump. Did you even think you would see the day? Well, there it is, folks. Our nation has been unified by Kathy Griffin. Thank you very much, you freaking moron. But that wasn't the only celebrity downfall or slip up or, pre-orchestrated whatever. Bill Maher got caught using a bad word on his show in his interview with Ben Sass, using the N-word in reference to himself, calling himself a phrase I'm not going to repeat on air, but you can go find it somewhere online, I'm sure. And HBO was not firing him. Reverend Al's going nuts. Use of the N-word by a white person, bad thing. But he gets to keep his job. Kathy Griffin doesn't. And really, it turns out to me that the outrage is really a subjective thing. But I think it's one of those situations, as my phone is going off here because I'm on blast right now. It's one of those things where I think you know it when you see it. A live outburst on live TV that is immediately regretted is definitely different and should be handled differently than a premeditated attack on the President of the United States and his character. I definitely can recognize the difference. Now, Bill Maher is going to get punished. Al Franken's not going to be on his show. We all know what a ratings burst that's going to be for him. How is he ever going to recover? But Bill Maher recognized his mistake immediately. He apologized, I thought, heartfelt, and, he was sincere. He got caught up in the moment. I think we can all relate to that. But we all can't relate to Kathy Griffin being so malicious in her forethought. As my Brooklyn's coming out, because I'm definitely getting upset. Being so malicious in her intent and premeditated in her intent with flagrant disregard for family and children and for her fan base and for the nation as a whole. I think we recognize the difference here, folks, and I think you're with me on this. I hope you are. I know we're nowhere near halftime, but we got a break in the action right now. I want to just say thanks again for listening to the show. I'm Gene Baradelli. We're working on getting Russ back onto the show. He had to go to he had to go upstate, and not for anything criminal or anything like that. He's at his he's up with the National Guard. He's at his drill. That's the word I was looking for. And he'll be gone for the next 2 weeks, serving in the New York National Guard as he does every year around this time. We're going to get Russ back for sure when we go to D.C. for our Foundation for American Immigration Reform's Hold Their Feet to the Fire Radio Row. And we'll talk about that as the weeks come closer. But I want to thank you guys for listening to the show. You can always check us out at www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us. Check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters at BEL_radio. And if you miss any part of this show, which we normally do live on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, that time may change in the coming weeks and months, who knows. You can always check us out at one of our rebroadcast outlets, including WJHC 107.5 FM in Jasper, Florida, WDDQ 92.1 FM, Adele, Georgia, Talk 92.1, we love you. Also WLBB 1330 AM, Carrollton, Georgia, all part of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. You can also check us out at KLRN Radio, High Plains Talk Radio, Sackheads Media, ICRN, the Internet's conservative radio network, powered by Pinnacle Broadcasting. We love Pinnacle Broadcasting and all the great people there, including our friend Ron Phillips, who's doing an awesome job. And you can also check us out at one of the fastest growing radio networks on the interwebs. That's Lanterns Radio at lanterns.buzz. That .buzz, I don't know who thought of that, but that's a pretty good idea. But if you miss any part of the rebroadcasts, at any time that they play, and they're all listed on our website at www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us, you can always check us out as a podcast on demand anytime. We're available on iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podbay, Player FM. You can discover us on Google Play Music. We're also on SoundCloud, and of course, the mighty iHeart Radio Network. Let's shift gears a little bit. We have to talk about this terror attack again in London. You've been hearing about it for days now, and you're going to be hearing about it for a while. I don't know what part of this people aren't getting. I don't understand how the cycle continues on. It's the same thing that happened in Manchester, folks. People who are known to be on a watch list are attacking innocents in England. The same type of people they were watching, who are radicalized nationals, who are perpetrating these flagrant, dastardly, malicious, thuggish, cowardice attacks. And we're going through the same cycle that we've gone through for every single attack. Incident happens, shock, despair, and awe, hard talk from government, the internet memes go up, the hashtag pray for, whatever location pops up, and we're back again through the cycle, because once you start saying things like we should start watching people from certain areas, the left calls you a bigot, is outrage towards them, and how we should be understanding of different people and being tolerant and blah, 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 blah. And then it all starts again later on. Theresa May called it out for what it is, finally. radical Islamic terrorism. But it seems like the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is just not getting it. To the point where even on, British morning shows, I saw one with Piers Morgan and Mayor Sadiq Khan out there, basically saying that we know of at least 400 people that are on a list that basically were in Syria or were in areas where people were radicalized and then were allowed back in to England. And yet nobody's watching them, nobody's tailing them, nobody's tracking them. Why is that? And the mayor of London gave this stupid explanation about funding and all this other stuff. The Liberals, this is where they go to. We need more money, we need more of this, we need more resources. When we really should be just focusing on the allocation of the resources. You're the mayor of London. Allocate appropriately. Yes, you may only control a certain amount of the budget, but allocate appropriately. If you missed it, folks, the outrage is growing. Our good friend Andre Walker, who you've heard on the show, he's had his, his monologue weekly last year with us, and he did a great job with that. He's moved on to bigger and better things, working for the Observer, still working as a lobby correspondent for Parliament. He actually wrote a story saying, "I'll put up 50,000 pounds right now. I got a sword. Come fight me, ISIS." Now, Andre is a slightly overweight middle-aged male who, yes, he has a sword. But I think the article accurately reflected the frustration and anger that most people are feeling around the world right now. Look, Europe is reaping what it sowed for years and decades of unfettered, unchecked, unvetted immigration from the Middle East. This is what's happened. This is the world that they are living in now, which makes the whole discussion of the quote-unquote travel ban, because that's what President Trump is calling it now, that much more relevant for us here. If you want to say that banning travel from persons who are emanating from different countries that are known for either state-sponsored terrorism or for having poor vetting abilities to vet out refugee from terrorists. If you're saying that's a bad thing and that's racist or that's anti-Muslim, whatever the case may be, I'm trying to understand your point, because these 7 countries are nowhere near representative of the entire Muslim world. The largest countries by population for the religion, Indonesia, for the culture, for the ethnicity of Arab, Egypt, not included. The travel ban, whatever you want to call it, needs to be addressed now. Hopefully the Supreme Court will take it up and will recognize the power that the president has had for a very long time. It's been invested in many presidents. And that's codified in law for him to deal with entry into this country as he sees fit. We discussed it on other shows, of course. It's time for us to get serious about this. Otherwise, what's happening in London, what's happening in Manchester, what's happening in Europe comes to our shores. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Scotty Hughes on the show and maybe have a little bit of fun. Gene Baradelli, Behind Enemy Lines, will be back right after these brief words. If you're a long-time listener of the show, or maybe this is your first time listening, you can probably tell that me and the gang here, we like to have our share of fun, whether it's on or off the air. We talk about 2-drink minimum radio and no medication Wednesdays or whatever day it may be. That's why when we found the people at Less Government, More Fun, we knew it was a match made in heaven with this show. Folks, we live in a time where government is out of hand. Our founding fathers did not intend government to be all-consuming in all parts of our lives. That's why we are telling you to go to lessgovmorefun.com, check out the website, check out the swag. What the people want is less government, more fun. Pass it on, make it happen.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save
your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. FAST. That's F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty, T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Behind Enemy Lines Radio is all about being right. No, seriously, it is. If you ever listen to Russ Gallo or me go back and forth on some issue, we always want to make sure that we remember who said what and when we said it. That's why we go to GoOnRecord.com. It's a brand new social media website. Challenge people on what they believe, whether it's in politics, sports, entertainment, finance, whatever. There's a category for you at GoOnRecord.com. Check it out right now. Tell us, what do you stand for? It's time for you to go on record. Behind Enemy Lines. Back on the air. Gene Baradelli, back behind Enemy Lines. Joining me on the line right now, it's a pleasure to welcome back to the show a very good friend of mine, journalist, author, blogger, Trump advocate, former CNN contributor, lover of fine Italian pastries, Scotty Hughes. Scotty, how you doing, sweetie?
I am doing fantastic. I love how you said lover of Italian pastries. I'm sorry. There's nothing more American than a cannoli. I just want to point that out.
Interesting way of putting that, but I totally agree. I miss you. I haven't seen you in a while. How are things?
Well, I'm doing good. You know, it's a lot of work actually making America great again. I mean, we thought in the campaign season it was all about make America great again. Well, now that he got elected, the fight really has just escalated. It's a lot more intense, a lot more people involved, and now we're actually having to work a little bit harder to make sure that we fulfill some of those campaign promises that he made on the campaign trail.
Absolutely, but just take a step back for a second. Has it sunk in yet with you how monumental of an accomplishment it was winning back in November?
Yes or no. I have moments that, I sit there and I watch and I'm just absolutely shocked that, I'm like, can you imagine? Great case in point. Let's look at what happened the other day with when we were doing the wreath laying ceremony at the Memorial Day at Arlington for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Could you imagine if that would have been Hillary Clinton, what that would have been like?
Yeah, no, and I don't want to. Thanks for putting that in my head. Appreciate it.
Well, I could give you a lot more bad images. But, in it's moments like that you sit there and go, thank goodness we have President Trump in office. For moments just like that. And just, you see, if you listen to our snowflake friends in the media, they make it like it's the end of the world. Look at, what happened with the Paris Accord. Like, we're all going to be frying today. I mean, I hope you bulked up on sunscreen so I guess the sun was going to fry our skin today. Or that we were all going to be sneezing from asthma, according to John Kerry. And yet, I think anybody with any sense of a brain realized the truth was America had been putting more money into that accord. I think it was up to $1 billion, while the rest of the countries were doing nothing. And yet, liberals and everybody are acting like, it's the end of the world and the earth is going to implode. It's just that those moments like that you just go, thank God the silent majority woke up and was paying attention enough. And I just hope we don't go back to sleep. That's kind of my job.
Right. Now let's talk about your new job for a second, because you are now the national spokeswoman for the Committee to Defend the President. It's a super PAC that a lot of our mutual friends are involved with. Does the president really need a PAC to defend him? He seems to do a pretty good job of it himself, Scotty.
Well, he does. He does defend himself very, very well. But unfortunately, when you see this onslaught of the left, you've got to have, it's kind of like a football game. Of course, I live in the South, so everything comes back to football. You can have an amazing quarterback, but if you don't have a great line that is defending him, that quarterback is going to be sacked. And that's exactly what this is. Now, of course, you would want to have, and when you're playing dirty, and you're seeing the left play dirty, we saw it this week with Kathy Griffin and the horrible stunt that she pulled off. And then the next day, when she was being held accountable, how the left continued to even praise her, and now they've made her almost like she's a patron, that she's the one. Well, the truth of it is, I think most Americans can look at this and see that what she did was not free speech. It was actually hate speech. I think a lot of people can look at it and say what she did was not a comedy. It was actually tragedy. And most importantly, those of us that are criticizing her, we're not being sexist. We're being patriotic, because that is the President of the United States, that the liberal left thinks that it is okay to encourage violence against. Those sorts of actions right there, I think, are the reason why the President needs to have a line of defenders, because obviously someone on the outside of the administration can say things a little bit different, a little bit more brutal, a little bit more honest than what those that have to be on the inside when they do their interviews can.
And that I certainly agree with. I have a theory about Kathy Griffin, and just by the way that it rolled out and just my devious attorney mind thinking, it feels like the whole thing was premeditated up to that press conference. The photos themselves, the comments made contemporaneously with the photos, the non-apology apology that was directed to her fans and not to the person she should have been apologizing to, and then the press conference with the lawyers. It all just traveled way too quickly for it not to be premeditated and planned out.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that one. And I think that, I don't know if I mean, you looked at the video footage that TMZ released ahead of time, the fact that they filmed it, where she's laughing, saying, we're going to have to move to Mexico. This is so bad. She knew what she was doing. And I don't know about it really planned out. I don't think she realized how much she was going to get backlash. And now we're hearing that on Friday night, Bill Maher himself used the N-word, and Senator Ben Sasse laughed about it. You know, I'm hoping that this is a big wake up that the Hollywood left, they're almost like living in this reality show mentality to try to outdo each other. They don't care about you and I. They know they will never have us on their side or on their team. They want to become the bigger star within their own little bubble. And I feel like it's only going to continue to get worse and worse.
And it feels like the gloves are off. I mean, there was certain niceties that were going on, even during the 2016 election, when everybody said this is becoming brutal. But now, if you didn't think that there was all-out war, as far as rhetoric, as far as culture war, we're here. We're here and now, and it's only going to get worse, in my opinion. That's why we need people like you stepping out. Guys, I remember, Scotty, 4 years ago, we first did an interview together, I think at CPAC or something like that, and you were just getting started and you were a force. Now you're like, I don't like to use the word iconic, but you've become an icon of the conservative movement. And I'm your buddy, so that's cool.
Stop, you're making me blush. You really are. No, I think the difference is, and because what I see my role in this world is not, because I do, you and I even trying to get this interview together, you've got a bunch of kids at your house. I've got 4 boys who, honestly, both of their parents work, and they're both working, and these 4 boys, it's summertime, so I've kind of collected them all together and trying to find ways. I live in the real world. And I think that's what I've always said, my place, my role, my calling has been, is to continue to remind those in Washington, D.C., and remind those media elites in New York what America really is all about and what the struggles we're having to deal with and the things that we're celebrating what's important to us. So anything about iconic that's about me, it's because it's the American people are iconic. And I just try my best to represent their views. Even last night I went to a wonderful county in Clay County, Tennessee. And this county only has about 7,500 people that live in the county. I mean, I think that's one block of New York City. But they had been the highest voter percentage of all the counties in Tennessee for President Trump in November. And I wanted to go and personally say thank you to them. Thank you. And they made a difference, just being small little county, rural county that they are. But they also had one of the highest unemployment rates. And they saw the message of President Trump that they might be able to get some of their manufacturing jobs back into that county. Those are the folks right there who I feel like, I would much rather spend time with them on a Friday night than a black tie dinner that costs $10,000 a plate around people who are just trying to outdo each other. I think that is what the joy of seeing President Trump elected and going forward means. And nothing against, and like I said, I love my place in New York City immensely. I love my time down in Hell's Kitchen, my apartment, and getting to talk to those folks and the struggles that they're having as well. It's just, there are real stories and real people who have been forgotten for the last 2 rounds of these elections, and that's where my role is, to kind of make sure that they have a voice somewhere, wherever we can make sure that they remind the folks that represent them.
Right, and President Trump's America First agenda is, obviously a lot of blowback from the left as far as getting his people in place and now pushing forth his agenda. What role do you see the committee that you're now up front for, Committee to Defend the President? What role do you see the organization playing in helping this America First theme, which has really been greatly rolled out from the beginning of from Inauguration Day to now? The theme America First has really shown through from the president. Where does CDP fit into this?
Oh, it's real simple. Twofold. One, when it comes to the president himself and his agenda, fighting back on social media, fighting back in the media, these liberal lefts that are trying to spin these lies, making sure that the truth is getting out there and you were able to push back on them. And we've already learned, I'm kind of a fighter. I'm not afraid of backing down on a fight. So I have no problem going up against some of the Carl Bernsteins of the world and the others who think that they are the only people who should listen to them. But it's also twofold. It's also making sure, especially going into the 2018 election, that we put fighters in Congress as well. President Trump can say America First all he wants, but if you have inaction, if you have the stalemate continue in Congress like what we've seen, then it's not going to do any good. And the backlash is going to be on the president, unfortunately, rather than on Congress, which is where it should land right now. I am one of those, and maybe it's not the best team spirit attitude, but I don't think any members of Congress should go on summer break or go home until they give us a budget that is acceptable, that we can have the president sign, until they give us the Affordable Care Act that is acceptable and the president can sign. I don't think we need to have any of them. I wouldn't be able to take a vacation. Would you? Would your boss let you off if you had not done your job? Oh, and by the way, you're making $180,000 a year. Do you think he'd be thrilled to let you take your 2 weeks off for vacation?
I believe they would call that malpractice.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, Congress needs to have a different standard of living. And so I think it's going to continue to support candidates like we saw our body slamming congressional candidate in Montana, putting money into there, making sure that we're out there campaigning for them and others as we gear up for the 2018 elections. And here is the big falsehood that's going to be happening. Is they're going to stay down ballot, and then we heard it in the 2016 election, down ballot candidates are going to be in trouble because of President Trump and his agenda. I am sorry. If you are a candidate and you are in trouble, if you have an R by your name, it's not because of President Trump. It's because of your own voting record. And so you need to check it. You need to make sure it's exactly what the people in your district are wanting, because it's obvious we can turn out people to the polls. The question is, are those people going to like how you've been voting? And that's the question that these candidates need to be asking themselves.
Absolutely. And if they don't get on board with the president's agenda of job growth and putting power back into the people, I don't think that they're going to find their seat is that safe, regardless of their party label.
Absolutely. And I would like to hold all, and granted, President Obama did this Paris Accord, and this is on the top of a lot of people's minds right now. Yep. He did it via a version of executive order. But I have to ask, $1 billion in taxpayer dollars were allowed to be put into this. Meanwhile, you've got zero out of China, zero out of India, zero out of most countries. How can a president have such power that he can put $1 billion into a foreign entity, into a foreign concept, and not have any version of? And Congress has no control over that. I thought we had checks and balances.
And the Senate didn't even vote on it. The Senate didn't even vote.
Exactly.
It's absolutely crazy. I totally agree. I think part of the thing that we have to address, Scotty, and maybe you can pass this on to your people, is that there's a culture in Congress in general of punting to the president. There has been this erosion of power in the legislature because there was such a centrally controlling executive with President Obama that it was they basically abdicated their power to the president. And the whole concept of our government is to not have it that way. We need members of Congress to be members of Congress and to actually take a stand on things. And I hope you're holding their feet to the fire, and I know you will be. So just throw that out there for you.
Thank you, and you're absolutely right on that one, and that's the whole point of this. By the way, demonize Trump, the president, in the White House for the second round of the ACA and all of these things going on. The president. Here's how this is supposed to work. Our founding fathers set it up. The president takes the campaign promises that he made to the American people, and what they elected him obviously to do, and sends those wishes on to Congress. Congress then is supposed to come up with the bills themselves. They're supposed to work it out, and then they send it back to the president, and then he has the choice if that bill is reflective of what he sent them or not, whether he signs it. But it should not be this whole thing that when Congress doesn't do its job, that the president is blamed on. And where we lost that, you very rarely ever see it with the Democrats. But you definitely see it on our side. It's like, let's pass the blame. No, let's just do our jobs. And let's stay within our own boxes and do exactly how it was set up to be. But that's going to be called the American people have to hold the Congress and the president accountable to stay within their own fence line.
But it's also the beauty of the right, what you point out. The left is a monolith. Everyone speaks with one voice. You know, it's the Borg. Resistance is futile and all that. You have to consensus build on the right because there is independence of thought and independent ideas. And you need a strong leadership in Congress that will be able to build coalitions within the party. Because we've never been a single flavor in the conservative movement. There are many different types. And, you know, you got your job cut out for you. I don't want to keep you, like I said, because we have lives that we have to get back to. And I don't want to keep you from yours. Go to the Committee to Defend the President, www.committeetodefendthepresident.com. Check them out. Donate what you can. And I'm sure that the committee is going to be looking for candidates that they're going to be supporting. So let your voice be known there. And, of course, my friend Scotty Hughes, follow her on Twitter at Scotty N. Hughes. And check out her website, which, by the way, I love. ScottyNellHughes.com. Buy her book. If you haven't bought her book already, I'm ashamed of you and you shouldn't listen to my show. But if you have, I'm going to give you one last chance. Go pick up Roar, The New Conservative Woman Speaks Out. It's fantastic. I love it. You still have to sign it for me, and I'm mad at you about that. But we'll get to that another time. And listen, you know me. I appreciate everything that you're doing. You're absolutely fantastic. You've always been a good friend, especially coming on this little ditty of a show that I have. And keep doing what you're doing. And I love you, babe. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for having me. And it's far from a little ditty. In fact, I believe it shows like yours is the reason why we have a president in the White House right now who is so much by the people and of the people. Thank you for all you do.
I am so clipping that and using it for something else. Thanks so much, Scotty. Take care.
Thank you.
And that was Scotty Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. Always love having her on the show. You know, one of the things I love about doing the show is we always like to have as much fun as possible. And we really haven't been doing that lately. I mean, listen, I know we've done the Maxine Waters thing, and it's been pretty cool. But, listen, this latest stuff from Hillary Clinton about her excuses tour, I guess you want to call it, has really brought out a lot of creativity in a lot of people. And I want to share some of it. The first one I want to share is a video I found on the YouTubes. It was an amazing compilation, I should say collaboration more like, of many different talented people. I want you to listen to it, and then I'm going to give credit to everybody. This is called Hillary Clinton Sings My Favorite Excuses.
Top secret data purloined by Gremlin. Misdeeds exposed with some help from the Kremlin. WikiLeaks published the emails we tossed. These are a few of the reasons I lost. Draft beer and vino and vodka martini all disappear like I'm freaking Houdini. It's not a secret I like to get sauced. These are a few of the reasons I lost. Girls in blue dresses with DNA traces. Bill has me threaten the girls he embraces. With my assistance he's free to accost. These are a few of the reasons I lost. When I'm lying, testifying, I concoct a tale. I look for excuses and others to blame, and then I won't go to jail. Tantrums and breakdowns and fake tears with tissues, obvious signs of some medical issues, fainting and stumbling and eyes that go crossed. These are a few of the reasons I lost. Because of my gender, I think I've been slighted. There's a good chance that I may be indicted. Image as cold as a New England frost. These are a few of the reasons I lost. Currency laundered through Clinton Foundation. Influence peddling that threatens our nation. All the offenses I've seemed to amass. These are the reasons that Trump kicked my ass. When I'm lying, testifying, I concoct a tale. I look for excuses and others to blame, but I still may go to jail.
I told you it was pretty good. All the credit for My Favorite Excuses goes to the team that put it together. Written by Tony Olson, the vocals by the lovely and talented Allison Thompson, produced and edited for YouTube by Tim Collier. You'll find it on Tim Collier's page on YouTube. It's already gotten close to 150,000 views. Subscribe and check out more fun stuff from this crew. I'm definitely going to be checking them out a lot more often. But the creativity does not stop there. One of our favorite people that we like to, favorite organization, I guess, that we like to showcase, I guess. Some people call it shamelessly stealing. I call it showcasing with credit, is the Washington Free Beacon. And they don't disappoint with their rendition of Hillary Clinton, in her own words, giving close to 40 different excuses for the reason why she lost, except for the actual reasons. Here, listen to this one.
I never said I was a perfect candidate, and I certainly have never said I ran perfect campaigns, but I don't know who is or did. Mm-hmm. And at some point, it sort of bleeds over into misogyny. Mm-hmm. And let's just be honest, you know, people who have Putin wants to bring us down, and he is an old KGB agent. If you look at Facebook, the vast majority of the news items posted were fake. They were connected to, as we now know, the 1,000 Russian agents who were involved in delivering those messages. They were connected to the bots that are just out of control. We see now this new information about Trump's Twitter account being populated by millions of bots. Bannon, who'd been running the Breitbart operation, supplying a lot of the untrue, false stories. What we saw was, in this election particularly, and I appreciate what Walt said, the first time that you had the tech revolution really weaponized politically. I inherit nothing from the Democratic Party.
What do you mean nothing?
I mean, it was bankrupt. It was on the verge of insolvency. Its data was mediocre to poor, non-existent, wrong. The group running this was the GRU, which is the military intelligence arm of the Russian military, and they have a very sophisticated cyber operation. In bed with WikiLeaks, in bed with Guccifer, in bed with DC Leaks. They were conveying this weaponized information and the content of it, and they were running, you know, there's all these stories about, you know, guys over in Macedonia who are running these fake news sites, and I also think I was the victim of a very broad assumption I was going to win. The biggest Google searches were not for Comey, because that information was just lying out there. It was for WikiLeaks. We know that the Google searches for this stuff were particularly high in places in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. They began to have some of their allies within the internet world, like InfoWars, take out pieces and begin to say the most outrageous, outlandish, absurd lies you can imagine. Your Twitter account is saying, oh my gosh, Hillary Clinton is running a child trafficking operation in Washington with John Podesta. You had Citizens United come to its full fruition. So unaccountable money flowing in against me, against other Democrats. You had effective suppression of votes. Wisconsin, under the current governor, Scott Walker, has been one of the leaders in voter suppression. I'd taken a tremendous hit after the Comey letter. He dumps that on me on October 28th, and I immediately start falling. The mainstream media covered that, as I say, like Pearl Harbor, front pages everywhere, huge type, etc. My momentum, particularly among women in the suburbs, stopped and dropped. Some people stayed home, we're getting more information about all of the contacts between Trump campaign officials and Trump associates with Russians before, during, and after the election. He does have a visceral grasp of America's political underbelly. He really understands how to inflame people, how to motivate them, how to bond with them over whatever their grievance is. You know, whatever resentment or point of anger that you may have, if he can get into it, whether it's race or xenophobia or Islamophobia, whatever it is. Look, I take responsibility for every decision I made, but that's not why I lost.
I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one.
You know, Comey, WikiLeaks, voter suppression, fake news, all of that. And that's kind of what happened. So,
have you ever heard a more delusional person in your life? Boy, oh boy. Speaking of Comey, though, and the whole discussion we had earlier about him testifying and all that's looming this week, let's play our clip about James Comey featuring the great, and I do mean great in a totally sarcastic way, Maxine Waters. Gene Bardelli, Behind Any Lines? Back after this. Time for a little music. We call this, What the F*** is Maxine Waters Saying?
To be clear, you believe it would have been better to keep in place an FBI director who you said had no credibility to oversee this investigation than to find someone who you think would be a better choice?
No. But I believe the president thought that. Don't forget, you're talking about what some Democrats said, what I said, but don't forget, he was the president. The president supported him. He had confidence in him. It was within his power. And
but you said he had no credibility, so it would seem to make sense that he should get rid of him.
No. Under investigation, this president basically has interfered with an investigation where he may be implicated. That's outrageous, and that's why we're having so much of a conversation about it today.
The bottom line is that you think an FBI director without credibility would have been best served in this position to try to pursue this investigation.
I think if the president had fired him when he first came in, he would not have to be in a position now where he's trying to make up a story about why it does not meet the smell test.
Yeah, something smells all right.
Understood. So if Hillary Clinton had won the White House, would you have recommended that she fire FBI Director James Comey?
Well, let me tell you something. If she had won the White House, I believe that given what he did to her and what he tried to do, she should have fired him.
So she should have fired him, but he shouldn't have fired him. This is why I'm confused.
No, you're not confused.
Yes, I am. Hey folks, I just want to let you know about a great opportunity for listeners of Behind Enemy Lines Radio. If you go to our website, www.behindenemylinesradio.us, and click on the SaneBox ad on the right side of the page, you will get a great opportunity for a discounted offer to join SaneBox. SaneBox filters out all the unimportant email from your inbox so that you can really focus on what matters. If you're anything like me, folks, you get hundreds of pieces of email a day, not many of which is important. SaneBox's smart filter will get everything you need to fly through your inbox and finally make email work for you. It gets rid of spam emails, it deprioritizes emails that aren't as important to you, and it helps you unsubscribe from mailing lists and individual senders with ease. So again, go to www.behindenemylinesradio.us and you click on the SaneBox ad and you'll be given an exclusive offer you won't find anywhere else. Gene Bardelli, back behind enemy lines. Got a little bit of show left. Of course, we want to thank Scotty Hughes for coming back on the show. Check out the Committee to Defend the President online and, check them out on the Twitters and the Facebooks and all that fun stuff we talked about during the interview. If you don't have the link handy right now, go to www.behindenemylinesradio.us. We'll provide the link for you in the article about this show, and you can click on it from there. Final thought time here on the show. I talked recently about the Puerto Rican Day Parade here in the People's Republic of New York City, and I'm happy to say that there was a sufficient enough backlash from sponsors pulling out that, we talked about Coca-Cola, Corona, a whole host of others, officials pulling out, police commissioner from NYPD and other officials, Chuck Schumer of all people, decided he didn't want to march because the parade organizers had decided to honor a terrorist that was recently released from prison. His sentence was commuted by President Obama with no sort of recognition that his violent acts that he conspired to commit, that were actually committed in the 70s, were indeed wrong. No contrition whatsoever. And the parade organizers decided to take this gentleman and laud him as a hero, give him their first hero award. And thankfully, because of the pressure put on from the grassroots, from the internet, from social media, from sponsors being pulled out, the Yankees included, like I said, with Coca-Cola, and the New York Daily News, that liberal rag, pulled out, shows you how serious it was. The award is not being given, the honor is not being given to this terrorist convict. That's the good news. But here's what's coming out of it. Mayor Bill de Blasio is coming out saying, look at what I did. I worked in the background to get the parade committee to reconsider their decision for this award. I gave them the space they needed to come to the correct conclusion. Are you kidding me? Bill de Blasio, a perennial buffoon, saying that he accomplished what basically the market accomplished, what the public accomplished, by these sponsors pulling out of the parade and highlighting this, by the son of one of the victims of the attack at Fraunces Tavern back in the 70s, Mr. Connor, coming out and making people aware of the situation that killed his father. The pressure that was put on politically as a result of that, by having police unions pull out, fire unions pull out, sponsors pull out. But Bill de Blasio was the tipping point. Are you kidding me? What a disgrace. And I say that because this is the week where candidates start petitioning to be on the ballot for election to office, including Bill de Blasio. People in the People's Republic of New York City, I hope you're listening to the show, and I based on the demographics, I know a lot of you do. But I want you to spread the word, because it looks like Bill de Blasio may win this election in a walk, because he has the power of incumbency, and because people are saying that there's a weak field out there on the Republican side, which I beg to differ, by the way. I believe there are many capable candidates out there. Some you've heard of, some you may not have, and you'll see that over the weeks and months to come, presumably based upon who gets on the ballot. But I say this to you right now. If you end up signing a petition to enable Bill de Blasio to get on the ballot again, you're just as much a part of the problem as Bill de Blasio is. I am sick and tired of everybody complaining about government, especially in the People's Republic of New York City, and then not doing anything about it and just doing the same old, insane, idiotic, moronic, buffoonish thing over and over again. And that's going to the ballot box and voting for this loser. Wake up, New York City. Come on now, you're better than that. And with that, we're going to end the show. I want to thank everybody for listening to the show. Check us out, as always, at www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us. And until next week, it's time to shut this sucker down. From the People's Republic of New York, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Gene Baradelli. This was Behind Enemy Lines, and we are out of here. Good night, folks. Our position has been compromised. It's time to roll out. Report for debriefing at www.BehindEnemyLinesRadio.us and look for regular communications via Facebook and Twitter at BEL_radio. You are the resistance. Behind Enemy Lines. A Rock Radio production. Copyright 2016. Back in 7 days. Out.